Now let's come back to another stronger and long-lasting partners of our foundation, and it's with a particular pleasure that I invite our friends from the Azerbaijan University of Architecture and Construction to be prepared for the for your presentation. Yesterday we listened and enjoyed the lecture by our friends, long-lasting friends, Professor Ajeva Khalid. She delivered a very interesting view of the panorama in the conservation and widening from the four corners of the whole world. And now we are really curious to listen the presentation on culture and architectural heritage of Sheki. And I invite the speakers of the Azerbaijan University of Architecture and Construction to start the presentation. The floor is yours. Please.
Dear Simone, dear all participants, greetings from sunny Baku, greetings from Azerbaijan Architecture and Construction University. I am happy to see you again after the pandemic period. Actually, right now also pandemic period is going on, but we are so glad to see you again. As we know, yesterday from our university, dear Professor Sabina Hajieva was a lecturer also, and now from our university have a group team who will present about the Sheki, and I will to present them to yours. There are Murat Mirzadeh, Maryam Sadıkzadeh, Elim Baylarov. Guys, floor is yours, please. Thank you very much, and I would like to say that thank you for the such wonderful event for the organizational side. Thank you very much. Please, guys.
Okay, thank you, Isam Alim, for your introduce. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, firstly, we want to welcome everyone and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am Murad Mirzadeh from Azerbaijan University of Architecture and Construction, and today we will speak with my group mates Maryam and Elin about the famous Azerbaijan city Sheki and about the architectural heritage of Sheki. So I hope you see my screen and hear me.
Yes, perfect. Go on, please.
Okay. So the historic town of Sheki, located in the northern part of modern Azerbaijan and has ancient origins as part of the Caucasian Albania, dating from the 5th century BCA. So the current historic center results from the reconstruction after Imut flood in 1772 on higher ground in a mountain valley east of previous site. So due to the natural limitations of the valley, the historic area has retained its overall urban form, but has expanded with the original buildings, lots following traditional typological patterns. The
We are sorry, Murad just had some technical issues. He will be in a minute.
I'm here. I'm sorry for it's my internet slow. So, please. Yes. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Can we have microphone on, please? Sorry.
Murad, your microphone, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now, yes.
I'm sorry for internet problems. So, being in contact with important trade routes, the region of Sheki has been subject to a variety of cultural influences. Christianity was here introduced as early as the 1st century CA and Islam in the 17th century. During its history, it has been under various governments, including the Safavids and Qajar, until the 18th century, followed by Russian rule in 19th century. Being situated between the spurs of the Great Caucasus, the town had limited conditions for development, so the town was developing mainly inside the quarters. The new houses were built inside existing households when required. So characteristic feature of the town is its urban development along the main street and following the direction of Gurjana River, as well as the concretation of the majority of the most important architectural monuments, deeply traditional for the town and typical for the period of town development, when it was the capital of the first Khanate of the territory of Azerbaijan, Sheki Khanate. So this is one of the most picturesque and ancient towns of Azerbaijan. It's one of the mostly visited towns in the country because of the great number of architectural monuments preserved up to now from different historical stages. So pay attention, please. Mostly interesting architectural monuments are placed in architectural historical preserve. Yukhari Bash, it means the upper part. There are fortress walls, the palace of Shakihans, the house of Shakihans, 5 mosques, 2 separately standalone minarets, round temple, 2 caravansarais, and etc. So, just a moment. Yes. Yes, despite more than 2 centuries of the history, numerous political and economic change, the urban structure of the historical part of Sheki has not changed significantly. So there's certain integrity of the architectural image in Sheki due to the simultaneous construction of the town in the 18th century in the area limited with the mountains. So that's why almost all the architectural monuments of Sheki are concentrated on the main arterial route along with the river. The town developed not within this, but extended along the river because of the was limited by the sparse of the Great Caucasus from all sides. The climate influenced the shape of town buildings due to the absence of precipitation. The roofs were sloped, covered with flat tiles. Such a decision is characteristic not only for residential building, but also for mosques, bathhouses, caravansarais. All kinds of public buildings, including the mosques, primarily bear the import of traditional houses. So in 1743, Sheki was established as the first and the most powerful of a series of khanates in Caucasus, representing a new administrative system in the regions as a trading center in contact with Asia and Europe. The principal economy of Sheki from the ancient times has been based on silk from breeding, tradition of cocoons, and the development of various crafts which still continue to the region. So at the same time, the morphology, I'm sorry, give the floor to my group mate, Eileen. Please, Eileen.
Hello, everyone. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
All right, please, next slide. All right.
Yes, Eileen, please.
Next slide.
It's not changing due to the Wi-Fi again, so.
Okay. The historic center of Sheki is an outstanding example of an architectural ensemble which has maintained its traditional. Where's Mona?
If you want, I can put it on my screen so Murad won't bother.
Yeah, put it on your screen.
Yes. Here. Can you see it?
Yeah. The historic center of Sheki is an outstanding example of an architectural ensemble which has maintained its traditional urban form from its construction in the late 18th century and is naturally limited by its geographical location in the mountain valley. Its focal point is the Khan's Palace within a fortified enclosure. The main axes are associated with the public buildings such as mosques, caravanserais, and hammams, as well as silk factories and shops. The expansion of residential units has taken place within the original building lots, following traditional typological patterns and characterized by high saddle roofs, deep verandas, avans, and gardens. Together, these constitute an exceptionally well-preserved historic urban landscape within the spectacular scene of the protected mountain slopes. The historic center of Sheki has developed organically in close interaction with the natural conditions and climate of the mountain valley. Next slide, please. Sheki Fortress, located in the upper northeastern part of the town, was built in the 18th century. One can mention the fortress as the planning center of Sheki. Due to the relief of the fortress area, the outlines of fortified walls are rather cut off. The location of the fortress is favorable not only from a military strategical point of view, but also a positive microclimate in this part of the town. Following Shaki's joining to Russia, erections inside the fortress were used for the purpose of the military garrison stationed in Sheki. Under the military plan of 1853, there were about 40 multifunctional objects on the territory of the fortress. A palace complex, numerous housing structures, pool, fountains, etc., were integrated into design. In the main, the basic components of the citadel were various chambers of Khan's family members. And there were also 9 pools shown in the. There were also 9 pools shown in the layout with water pipelines. Prior to the 20th century, the fortress remained destroyed, but it was restored from 1958 to 1963. There is only the palace of Shakikans with a big park front of it and few buildings of different purposes preserved up to now. It was the use of local building materials, baked brick and river cobblestone to trim facades and wider application of wood in the interior that predetermined the architectural spatial arrangement of mosques. The layout of mosques is most frequently an elongated rectangular with open gallery of portico, behind which there is a meeting room divided by stony or wooden pillars to overlap a bigger bay. An important place in the design of cult erections belongs to minarets, against the background of abundant verdure of gardens and not high residential houses. As a rule, minarets are separately standing erections located on an area at a distance of 8 to 15 meters from the mosque. However, there are mosques with minarets constituting a major space of the building, Juma Mosque. An ornamental design covering the surface of minarets imports an inimitable local color. Balconies of muezzins crowding verticals of minarets are overlapped by polyhedral wooden roofs on pillars. The design of internal space of cult erections, including Juma Mosque, is meager. Mere hubs, the sole elements of interior decor, bear no imprint of trimming. Khan Mosque, the Central Juma Mosque, and Mosque of Omar Effendi. Mosques in Gishlach are broad examples of mosques architecture. Traditionally, a dwelling house in Sheki is composed of several rooms stretched along the axis of a balcony. Like dwelling houses of other Eastern countries, the Shakis type facade has always been orientated towards the courtyard. Severe and blind facades facing the street have no openings. However, a tendency arose at the end of 19th century to face main facades towards the street, which finally resulted in plastic and special changes of the surface, modified the layout structure of the town as a whole. Under the effect of decorative elements, patterns, and murals having been introduced in the practice of construction, there sprang up erections of semi-palace and palace types, for instance, the house of Shakikans and the palace of Shakikans. Yes, Mariam. Microphone, madam.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Sorry, got some problems again with the screen.
It's okay.
Yes, so the house of Shakihas is notable for its decorations, a monument as an intermediate link between dwelling and palace buildings. Strongly elongated, the rectangular layout draws a distinction between office premises and residential space. There are 3 large halls and 2 small rooms with stairs on each floor. Facing the street, the facade has no openings at all. Of particular interest is the main facade of the house of Shakihas, which look toward the courtyard. 5 parts stand out the central axis of the facade. No ornaments are available in the lower floor, while the interior of the second floor is of particular interest. Splendidly painted Bukhari serves as a central axis of interior. Symmetrically placed rectangular niches are entirely covered with pictures depicting heroes of the poems of the greatest Azerbaijan poet Nizami Ganjavi. One of his works is 7 Beauties, Leyli and Majnun, and etc., overlapped by stalactites from the top. Note that the stalactite cornice also support a traditional Shaki shelf raft, placed above openings and niches. Structurally complex mirror stalactites compose the cornice beneath the ceiling. From an artistic point of view, of interest are small niches tahcha, with gabled complexion depictions of birds and animals, as well as remaining surfaces of 3 walls of the hall covered with pictures ornamental patterns. The 4th outward wall is covered with shabaka. You can see shabaka here. A plantfold of the hall is richly decorated. A complex styles pattern depicted virtue and family figures with colored wings is typical for the plant one. Another one particular interest among the architectural monuments is Shaki Palace of Shakihas. It was built in 18th century in the upper part of the town. The palace had once been a part of the greater complex. Palace also once was a vast ensemble, which besides the building of the palace include many rooms, harem, baths, mosques, cellars, stables, barns, and other surface premises. Following accession of Shaki to Russia, the facilities located inside the fortress and belonging to the palace were built and used for the needs of the military garrison stationed in Shaki. The barracks and prison were located there, and present just a pool and ancient trees have survived as a part of the complex. The Palace of Shakihas is a 2-storied building facing the south. Layers of the floors repeat each other, 3 large premises alternative to rank with antechambers. In all probability, the first floor was designed for official receptions. The second floor was used by Han family members. And eloquent testimony is the lack of internal connection between floors and outward staircase leads to the second floor. The most interesting facade of the palace is southern. Its design and decorative division are reflective of internal layout. The design of the central part of the facade is an entire vertification covered with geometrical wooden pattern shabaka, filled by colored glass. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm really sorry for interrupting. Each square meter of shabaka is composed of 5,000 elements fastened together with no nails. A carpet of colored shabaka is used as a thousandth wall of entrance hall of both floors. The same approach is used in the decoration of lateral halls. Entrances on the first floor are composed of deep portals with selected walls. A distinctive feature is the combination of colored glass shabaka with portals, as well as an all-round ornamentation which covers the remaining surfaces of walls. Of particular interest are interiors of the monument, notable for wall paintings of the 18th and 19th centuries. There are paintings in the halls of both floors and two side walls. They are scattered on the surfaces of the walls, niches, stalactites, passages, platforms. Note that the platform of the hall on the first floor is made of wooden elements with geometrical ornaments. The palace of Shakihas has been restored several times. The last restoration operations were done in the beginning of the 21st century. The fact that Sheki has been the center of handicrafts and trades accounted for a great number of markets and caravanserais here. Like everywhere, the caravanserais of Sheki designed for sheltering caravans or travelers were built to comply with their intended use. The general layout is as follows: a well-organized courtyard surrounded by rooms, cells for wayfarers. Located within the bounds of the town, the two caravanserais had, in addition to lodgings for the night, commercial premises as well. At present, just two caravanserais out of 5, which were active in 18th and 19th centuries, have survived. There was the upper and lower caravanserais as well. Of interesting is the fact that the above-mentioned caravanserais of the 17th century active in Shakir and are the largest of the entire territory of Caucasus through the layouts, dimensions, and conveniences. The historic center of Sheki bears exceptional testament to the feudal system of Caucasian Khanates, which developed from 743 to 819, and was also expressed in architecture of the Khan's palaces, interiors of wealthy merchant houses, and the fortification. Sheki has long tradition in silk form breeding, as well as related handicrafts, textiles, carpets, woodwork, copper, and brasswork. You can see all of them here. Such activities still continue in the region. It has been particularly important for the export of cocoons to many countries, including Europe, until the 20th century. Sheki has also been a major center for the production of embroidery using special techniques, especially developed in this region. Sheki is also considered the homeland of takaldus art. Takaldus art in Azerbaijan is a knitting art, the fancy art. The main place of the sericulture in Sheki was given a great impetus to the development of takaldus art here. Takaldus art developed as a result of the work of Shaki takaldus masters, found its formation and passed to future generations. The takaldus samples created by them were also popular outside the borders of Azerbaijan. The center of monopolization was the city Shaki. That's actually where engaged in this work. The historic center of Shaki has retained its overall historic authenticity. The buildings of Shaki have been gradually built following traditional typological patterns of growth. Therefore, with few exceptions, most of the recent constructions are also respect such traditional continuity. While some of the buildings are in need of repair, restoration, and rehabilitation activities have been undertaken respecting the historical and architectural character of the place. The historic center of Shaki has been indicated in the general urban master plan of the city as a conservation area, which is under the protection and management of Ministry of Culture. One of the most important events for Azerbaijan and for especially Shaki is that during a regular meeting at the 43rd session of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee, which was held in Baku. Baku is the capital, as you know, of our country, Azerbaijan. The Shakihas Palace and the Shaki Historical Center were included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Thank you for your attention. I hope you liked our speech and our presentation. And I really hope that you got inspired, and soon we will see you in Azerbaijan, especially in Sheki. Thank you.
Thank you very much.